Hello and welcome to this week's podcast. Today it's sunny outside, which feels amazing and very spring-like. Today we're going to talk about the knitters survey that I sent out at the end of the last year. So around December, like the end of December, I sent out a form for everyone that wanted to participate to they could answer this form, and it was about knitting habits, and if you see any trends, if it was some questions reflecting on the year that gone by, and the things that you want to do in 2025. So I thought I got this idea. I actually got this idea from a podcast that I follow that's called Books Unbound by Ariel Bissett and Raylene. I don't remember her last name. Ariel and Raylene. And they do this every year, and they have it's an audio podcast, but you can also they have a video for it as well. So, and they send this out for their listeners to answer, and then they review it in a video or a podcast. And I thought it would be fun to see what your knitting habits are. So today we're going to talk about that, but I also wanted to do like a quick update on things that I'm making right now. The thing that I'm knitting on most right now is my Rota sweater, and I just potted for the sleeves, and I knit kind of like 5 centimeters, 2 inches maybe, and it's coming along nicely, and I'm very excited to have this done because I think this will be the perfect spring transition sweater. And I'm knitting it in a yarn called Ullcentrum 2-ply tweed. So it's a tweed yarn, so it has these lovely like speckles of color. It's a really beautiful dark brown yarn. I also displayed some of the fibers that I got recently, and this is Knitted and Fibers in the color Elvira, which is in their latest update. And this is the perfect rust color, and I've just been spinning it for like 20 minutes just before I filmed this episode, and it's so magical. It has these really beautiful shifts between like a lighter rust and a darker rust, and also some yellows, like a really rich warm yellow, and it makes the most beautiful yarn, and I'm so excited to spin it up and then to twist, to ply it into 2 strands and see how that works out. And I got 600 grams, so it's going to be enough for a sweater. So I thought that might be the first sweater that I design for a handspun yarn. That will be really, really fun. And I'm watching Outlander right now. Have you watched the latest season, or the second part of the latest season? I just watched 2 episodes, I think, and I'm on the 3rd one, and I'm really excited. I saw that one of the last episodes in this part is called "Of My Heart's Blood and blah blah blah" something, but I think that's the name of a book in the series. And I actually picked up this book when I was in a second-hand store, and I just picked it up and read on the backside to see which book in the series it was, and I got it was a huge spoiler on the back. So I don't think if that's gonna happen, or I don't know. Yeah. But I'm watching Outlander at the moment, which is really lovely, and I'm loving being back in that universe. And I also today found out that Juliette Marillier is coming out with a new book, and I haven't read all of her books. I've read the 7 Water series, which is one of my favorite series of all time. It's 6 books, and it's just magic all through. But yeah, so she's coming out with a new book the 25th of February, which is really soon. And it's called The Amber Owl, New Heartwood Duology. And it's a really beautiful cover. And I thought that I might read that one, actually. I'm really excited to read some of her works again, because I haven't done that in many years now, I think, or a couple of years. So yeah, okay, that's for the update. It's sunny outside today, as I said, and it's Thursday. It's soon the weekend, and it feels like spring in the air. We have had some flowers. Robin saw some flowers on his walk yesterday, and it was really nice. They are called vintergäck and snödroppar, which is snowdrops. So it feels very much like spring. And if you hear Hilma talking in the background, she's having a snack with Robin. But okay, so let's go through these questions and answers. So I'm gonna pop the question and if there's a graph, I will put it here. So the first one was okay. So let's start with how many answered. I have 232 answers to this survey, which makes it, I think it's a good amount of answers. The first question was approximately how many projects did you finish this year? You don't have to have started them in 2024, but you need to have finished them. So we had 38, almost 39% said under 10 projects, which is one project a month around there, which is a lot, and then we had 37% that said 11 to 20 projects, which is loads. And then we had 12 or 13% said 21 to 30 projects, and 11% said more than 30. More than 30 projects, that's a lot. So I wasn't really that surprised by this, but these answers. The next question was, do you knits follow a specific color scheme, or do you knit all the colors? And 54% said mainly on a color scheme, but I venture out of it sometimes. And I think that's the thing that I do most of the time also. I would say that I don't venture out that much, but I would say that I venture out for when I knit for others. So if I want to knit another color, I might do it for Hilma or for Robin or anyone else. 32% said none of my knits match, which is hilarious, I think. And then 14% said specific color scheme. For example, red, yellow, oranges, only beige, only black, etc. So I have seen quite a lot of people that only knit in beige or black. Yeah, I think that's a really common thing. The next question is, do you use natural or synthetic fibers? And the biggest part of the answers are 57%, so more than half of the answers said natural fibers all the time, which is lovely to hear. And the second biggest part of the answers are 41%, and it says mostly natural and a bit of synthetic. And I think this might be, mostly sock yarn, because it has a bit of synthetic materials in sock yarn to, so they can, they wear longer. And I get that. I think that might be it. And then it was a really tiny, 1.3% said mostly synthetic and a bit of natural. So, yeah. Next question is, which size of needle do you use the most? And this wasn't really surprising for me. So 67% said from 3.5 to 5 millimeters, which is the needle sizes that I see all the time everywhere and that I use myself most of the time. So I don't think I have a knitting pattern that goes over 5.5. And I don't think that I have, so I have some in 3, like this Rota cardigan that I'm wearing. This is 3 and 2.5, so, but I'm right around there as well. And actually the second biggest part of the answers was from 1.5 to 3.5 millimeters, and I think that might be because people are using 3 millimeter needles a lot. The smallest part was 29%, and it was, not 29, it was 3%, and that's from 5 millimeters and up, so really chunky needles. Okay, so the next question is, do you make plans for next year's knitting, so 2025, like a make 9 or similar? And 74% 5% of the answers said I make like a loose plan on what I need / what I want to make. And I think that's really good, you know, to be open for changes, but also have like, you know, look at your wardrobe and see that, okay, so I really need a really thick sweater for winter, or, you know, I need some shawls for summer because it's kind of chilly, but I don't have like a lightweight shawl. So I think that's really good. And the next, the second to last biggest chunk of the answers said, I have no idea what I want to make, which is also, you know, just go with the flow, and I really love that. And 6.5% said, yes, working on my make 9, which is really structured people, I think. You know, people who are, who enjoy having a plan and just knowing what they want to make and have a goal with it. It's great. Okay, so this is really interesting. I have a question that said, is there a special technique or construction that you want to try in 2025? And this was really fun. Like, a lot of you said brioche, which is something that I also want to try. I have knit some brioche, but I haven't made a design in it, so I'm intrigued by doing a design in brioche. But also intarsia. And also lots of you said steeking, which is very much fun, because I think that's such a great way to be able to knit cardigans and you know, all colorwork sweaters, and then just steek the sleeves and the front to make it easier, to make it more even and more enjoyable to knit. So I think that's a really good goal. And also there's a lot of content out there on how to steek. So I think if you just search on YouTube, you can find loads of things, loads of tutorials on how to steek. Lots of you said cables as well, which is really fun. I remember when I started knitting cables and I just loved it. And then I haven't done a cable design for my own company, like my own knitwear brand, but I have done one for the book. It was such a huge learning curve for me to design in cables, and it was really much fun. So I wanted to make a design for like Anna Sjösberg Knitwear in 2025 in cables as well. I love that. It's also so much fun to knit, so you should really try it if you want to. And I love this one. And nothing is new to me. Been knitting almost 50 years. That is such a long time, and it's so amazing. I love it. Yeah, okay. So we had some stranded colorwork, which is really good to try out when you've gotten, you know, comfortable with knitting with one color. It's the next step. I think it's great. And also some mosaic knitting, which I'm also working on right now. Yeah, provisional cast on Latvian braid, a colorwork sweater, a proper Latvian braid. I love that. I have already tried all of the known ones, so maybe there are some things that, you know, we don't use in the Western world that much. Maybe we can find some techniques to try something else. Colorwork, top-down hat, shawls, rositude from your Asinia cardigan. Thank you very much. That's a really good project. It's not a beginner project, I would say, but it's a really good project if you know, have knitted some sweaters, some cardigans, you know, feel comfortable with knitting and garment construction, how they knit from top down, but want to try cables or lace or rositude, because it's all in there in my Asinia cardigan. Scandinavian or Swedish folk inspired designs, which is, I love that. Here someone wants to try short rows, which is also a very good way of just getting your knits to fit better. Honeycomb, I love honeycomb. All over cardigan, colorworks, structured knits, stranded colorwork. You know, there's a lot of lace colorwork and cables, which is awesome. I love it. Okay. I also asked you, where do you find your patterns that you knit? Okay, so 203 of you said Ravelry. This was like, you could choose loads of different answers, so the percentage is not correct. But yeah, so 202 of you said Ravelry. And then Instagram was 174 of you. And then after that, it wasn't actually Pinterest, which I thought it was going to be. It was books, 96 of you, and then 33 of you said Pinterest. And that it's a lot, lots of YouTube and websites and specifically knit a note, and everything. So yeah, but Ravelry is the biggest thing, and I get that. I love Ravelry. Okay, so do you have a knitting group online or in real life? So this was a bit sad to me because I can really get this. So the biggest chunk of the answers was 56%, and it was no, but I want one, which is really sad. And I'm thinking about how we can make it happen. I can't really help you with the in real life knitting group, but maybe we can do something online. But the the second to biggest answer was 25%, and it was in real life, which is really nice. I really loved my knitting group, both in when I lived in Malmö and when I lived in Gothenburg. So, and then 13.4% so said no, I don't need one, and the rest of you said yes, online. So online is also a possibility. The next question was, do you watch knitting podcasts on YouTube? And 63% of you said yes, a lot, which is so much fun. And then 29% of you said sometimes, and 9% of you said no, never. So the next question was, have you gone to a knitting event this year? And this could be a festival or a knit night, a lecture or workshops. And 47 of you said yes, love that. And 32% of you said no, but I want to go next year, which is so much fun. And I think there are so many things popping up to be able to visit nowadays. So I have 2 scheduled in the next 3 weeks, which is very excited for that. And then 21% of you said no, I haven't. Okay, so the next question is, do you see any new trends in knitting for 2025? And a lot of you said, I don't know, that you didn't follow trends or that you don't see any trends for right now. But I also have some things that are really interesting. So cables seem to be making a comeback, which I really do see that. And I think the white cabled sweater will be huge this autumn. Hoods. Yes. I see hoods everywhere, and I was like, should I make a hood? But then I thought, I don't use hoods. I don't use hats at all. I don't use hats because I always have my hair up, and I really don't get that cold on my head. So I don't think I will make a hood, actually. But there are lots to go around. Oversized patterns, I would say, are becoming more trendy, and I think this will continue together with thicker yarns. So yeah, I see that too. But I also see the shrunken cardigan, which is a thing I've seen on a few different places, and I think that is, I think it's described as like a grandma cardigan, but a smaller one, like a tighter and shorter one, kind of like my Rota. And this comment is really interesting. I think fiber arts in general are having a moment, and this will continue to grow. I think they are becoming to be seen as more component of fine art as well, instead of being relegated to home crafts, which I really see that trend as well. I think like textile craft is getting a higher value, and I think that's great. Jackets, skirts, understated and fine gauge with clever construction. Yes, I see that a lot. The short jumpers and cardis seem set in. Yes, I really see that as well, and I hope it will continue to stick around. So the next question was my favorite one. Which fictional character would be a great knitter, do you think? And I actually made a compilation of this because it was so many great answers, so I didn't want to miss to tell you any. So I didn't want to forget to tell you any of them. And I made it like categories. So the first one is Harry Potter, because you had loads of Harry Potter characters that would be great in knitting. And the most answers were Hermione Granger. And I think this is funny because, yes, she has the aura of being great at knitting in one aspect, but she also actually knits in the Harry Potter series, and she isn't that good. She might get better, and I think that she might be a good knitter, you know. I think she will be a knitter that knits like socks for her grandchildren. But the one... Okay, so I'm going to tell you which one of the Harry Potter characters I think are the best knitter. But you also said Hagrid, which I totally agree with, and I think that he actually knits in the series. Dumbledore, he says that he loves knitting patterns in the series, so he might knit, or he might have... I think he has a special bond with knitting, like knitting socks. Molly Weasley, she has a knitting... she knits sweaters for all her 7 kids, and also to Harry and Hermione. I don't know, maybe Hermione. She does that for Christmas every year, so obviously she's a great knitter. Luna Lovegood, she feels like she crochets. It feels like she is a person that crochet. Do you agree? Put a comment down below. And Minerva McGonagall, yeah. Minerva feels like a person that would sew a lot. Like she would sew things in wool fabric, like what do you say, like a cape or a hat or something like that, or maybe embroider. You know, she feels like a really precise person that embroider cushions. And the person that I think would be the most knitting, the person to most likely be knitting in Harry Potter series is Book Ginny. I don't think not movie Ginny, because she is not like the book Ginny. But Ginny in the books, I can see her sitting knitting in a corner, because she's cool, but she's also, you know, she's not that she's popular, but not popular in that way, you know, the douche way. I don't know. Don't you think that Ginny has a knitting aura? I think so. Okay, so moving on to the next category, which is Lord of the Rings. And this was a lot as well. So I love this. Sam Gamgee, he absolutely feels like he could be knitting. And he has like 13 children or something. So yeah, they need to save the money, I think. Gandalf, yeah, can see him sitting knitting a pair of socks. Absolutely. Frodo, yeah. Aragorn, yeah. I don't know, maybe. I can see that you see that, but I don't think I agree. Ori, like Dori, Ori, one of the dwarves. Yeah, can see that. Legolas, of course, only knitting with the silk of the Galadrim. I get that. Tom Bombadil, yes, he feels like a knitting maniac guy. And he feels like he has sheep on his lands, so that would be perfect. And Bilbo, yeah, I can see Bilbo knitting, sitting in his little corner and knitting with... Yeah, knitting feels like a very Hobbit activity, so that's great. We also had some Moomin, which you said Moomin Mama and Snusmumrigen. I can totally agree with that. And then we have some random book characters. So Jane Eyre, Anne of Green Gables, Quoth from The Name of the Wind, Bridget Jones. I think Bridget Jones would knit Lerkebagger. Or she might try to knit something like Petit Knit, but it turns out Lerkebagger. Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Yes. Linus Baker. I haven't read the book from T.J. Klune with Linus Baker. I have it in my bookcase, but I haven't read it. Mary Bennett. Yes, definitely. And then Miss Marple and Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, I don't think maybe Sherlock Holmes. He would do like some intricate color work, like Fair Isle or something. And Miss Marple, definitely lace knitting. Yoda. Yeah, maybe. It might be hard with only 3 fingers. But yeah, so that was my favorite question of all of them. I really loved reading your answers for that one. And also this last question. Describe your knitting style with 3 words. And we have some really nice ones, like relaxed, texture, mindless. Rustic, natural, practical. I really love that. Constant, cozy, and drapey. Love that. Simple, cozy, squishy. Mindful, practical, nature-inspired. Earthy, natural, folk. I would describe my own style as like natural, folk, and whimsy. So I feel very connected to that one. Semi-impulsive, no swatch with mohair. Love that. Chaotic, goal-oriented, and practical. Yeah. Rustic wool only. Can relate. Whimsical, wistful, and unplanned. Cozy wool, 1 color. That was 4 words. It's okay. Planning, overthinking, improvise. Yes. Warm, quick, and cozy. Ullig, folklore, flerfärg. So woolly, folklore, and multicolored. Like stranded color work. Simple and folksy. Who needs cohesiveness? Engaged, lust-filled, and calming. Quick, fearless, and inspired. I'll try it. I love that. We will end with that one. I will try it. So yeah, that was the knitter survey that I made last year, and I love that so many of you answered the form. So thank you if you participated in it, and let me know if you want to me to make a new one for like December. I can schedule that in, and yeah, it was a really fun thing to do, and to think of the questions, and also to hear what you see in what's coming in trends, and what colors do you want to use, and which techniques do you want to use. It really helps me plan my year, because I really want to make things that I love, of course, but I also want to challenge me, and also it's really valuable for me to hear your insights and what you want to try out next year. So yeah, it was really much fun. And I loved making this video. I hope that you enjoyed this, and it's the weekend now, so I hope that you have a lovely weekend, maybe a bit of sun. I'm filming this on Thursday, and it's currently sunny outside, and I just love the sun. I'm really hoping for a sunny weekend where I can just, walk in the park with Robin and Himma and Eden and knit, which is lovely. So thank you for watching this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you want to see a video about something else, if you have some specific topic in mind, I'm trying to make a video every week on YouTube, and another it might be 3 on YouTube and 1 on Patreon, or 4 on YouTube and 1 on Patreon. It depends on my time. But if you want to have more content from me, you can follow me on Patreon, and I will link that below, where I post an extra video every month. I post an audio podcast every month. I have blog posts, I have photo dumps, I have inspiration posts, like seasonal posts. Also, when I release a knitting pattern, you get it for like included in your Patreon price, so you get it as a downloadable link. Yeah, and we have loads of fun over there. We have group chats, and we have knit-alongs now and then. And I also am trying to gather up the courage to start live sending over there. My goal is to have live sendings every month, but I have to figure out some way to not wake Hilma up during the night, or maybe have it like a weekend on a weekend and in the middle of the day. Yeah. So I'm trying to develop my Patreon this year, and I would love to see you over there. I also wanted to mention my newsletter because I send that out every Saturday. Now I'm trying out this structure of having not to think about too much around the structure, but just have like a routine. And I'm thinking that Saturdays might be a good time for me to upload a video on YouTube and also send out the newsletter. So I send that out every Saturday, and I talk about if there are any upcoming patterns or test knittings, and also I also give, like, I have in the bottom of the newsletter, I have some personal favorites or something that I've seen this week that I really enjoy. So if you want to hang around there, I will post a link in my description box as well. So yes, now we'll go out in the sun and go to my office, do some work. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.